All right, Aslam, welcome to our phase one program of our technical co-foundation of our journey into the field of cyber security journey. Uh, this is a material that I already make it for you to make you understand how this network it is all about. And like previously, is that in networking we are going to cover under this phase one with a lot of topics. Which the first topic of this phase one of the mentorship program at the Cyber Security Solution Limited is that this week we are building to understand how the networking is all about. We'll be struggling about networking, traffic analysis, incidents investigation, security tools, attack detections. Uh, the scenario about this week is that we are going to talk about what is network. A network is a group of devices connected together to communicate and share data. For example, one of the example of your network is that your home office, your home Wi-Fi or your phone Wi-Fi is an example of network. Office network, internet, the internet myself is one of the example of the network. Every message, website or files you access travels through a network, because one thing is that anything you do is always travel across a network. For example, a light that transfer from our home to the phone, it is always transferred through a network, because it will usually transfer from the stations of the NEPA who usually transmit our electricity. That one is an example of network. And then one of the slide that I would like to give you is that by ending of this session you will learn what network and how it is structured, and you will know how to explain how network works as a fundamental level, then identify the key network components and their roles, then describe data flow from device to the server. Like I have told you previously about how network it is all about. It's a group of connected devices that communicate and share data. Connected device, which is computers, phones and server limited together. And then the communications, which is device send data and receive data between each other. From device send and then the share resources. One thing is that you need to understand is that the share resources, which are file, printers and internet access, all are all example of the network. The real world example, which is the home Wi-Fi networks, and then the home Wi-Fi networks, and then the internet, which is a global network of networks. They are all example of the real example of the networks. And then the foundations to understand how network it is all about. In the field of cyber security, no need for you to skip any part of this processes, because while I have told you is that the internet, the global network of networks, which is called the internet, and then you have to know about all those words, how about the network and the internet, because there is difference between the internet and the network. Because network is a group of connected devices that communicate and share data, while internet is a global of networks. You have to understand all this, because there are some people who are exchanging between the internet and then the network, because they are two different things. Because this one is the network is a group of connected devices that communicate and share data, while internet is a global network of is a global network of networks. You have to understand that. And then the office network, which is connect employees and the servers, because one thing is that there are some you have to connect it to the Wi-Fi, and then they share resources, files, printers and internet access and are shared. While we have some types of network. The types of network, we have local area network, which is LAN, and then the wide area network, which is WAN, and then the metro metropolitan area network, which is MAN. For example, a local area network, it is covers a small areas like a home, office, or school building. These are example of a local area network, which is called it LAN. Device connected via internet or Wi-Fi. Usually those networking devices which are connected in a local area network usually are your home routers connected to laptop and phones, e.g. they are all local area networks. And then the next types of network, which is a wide area network, span large geographic areas, cities, countries, or globally. Use liaison lines and ISP, which is internet service providers. The big example of a wide area network, for example, like city, from one cities, or from for example northeast, southeast, or some states, or those cities, they are all example. The whole city network, it is an example of a wide area network. And all the whole country, there is an example of wide area network. Or global, which is a completely all countries, they are globally, they are all example of wide area networks. While some they usually use liaise with lines, they usually liaise with internet service providers, for example MTN, Airtel, Glo, and other service providers. While e.g. the internet itself corporate headquarter linked to remote offices. For example, there are so many things that, like for me and you, we're usually connected. We are connected through remote control, which is under global area network, which is a wide area network, because you are in another country, me and another country. We usually used to connect and share some resources through wide area network. And then the next thing, under the types of network, which is the metropolitan area network, which is MAN. It covers a city or large campus larger than a LAN but smaller than a one area. This MAN, it's a typically example about a city-wide Wi-Fi or cable TV network across a metropolitan area, because this one is usually show you that is that it usually show you that the metropolitan area network usually covers a large area network, because it will try to exchange some devices toward connected devices. I would like to pause here. Like I saw your message on WhatsApp. Since you are online, let me post this one, and you should join them for the classes. Sorry, like I said, with the continuation of the recording of this video, previously I was saying is that the metropolitan area network, which is cover a city or a large campus, larger than a LAN but smaller than a WAN, because this is typically to tell you that a large a city-wide Wi-Fi cables TV network across a metropolitan area, because there are some difference between LAN 1 and MAN. MAN, which is metropolitan area network, is a smaller than WAN, which is a wide area network, but higher than LAN, which is local area network. It's usually used to cover a city or large campus network. For example, a network for an institution is an example of MAN area network, MAN, which is metropolitan area network. Then the basic network and network component, which we have device, router, switch, ICSP, which is internet service providers, and then the servers. For example, the example of device, which is a networking device, which is our network component, which laptops, phones, tablet, which are the endpoint that send and receive data. For example, your laptop, your phones, your tablet, they are called endpoint devices. For example, whoever asks you what are your endpoint devices, usually asking you about your laptop or your phones or your tablet, because they usually used to send and receive data. Because for example, using your phone, you send data and you receive data. All those are called endpoint devices. And then for the router, which is one of the example of network component, which is direct data packet between networks connect your LAN to the internet. Well, for example, I usually used to connect my all laptops and phones through routers, because it usually used to send me a direct data packet between networks and connect through my LAN network, which is local area network, to the internet, because it's usually used to give me a gateway direct and give me a direct access to the internet, because it's only the router that is connected to the internet, not my phone, because I usually used to connect this device. I usually used to connect my phone and laptops direct to the router. The router connected to the internet, while is the one who directly send me the packet between the network through the LAN area, which is local area network. And then moving to the switch, there are some devices which is connected multiple devices within the same LAN, which is local area network, managed local traffic. Because one of the difference between the router and the switch is that usually the router is connected to the internet, which is global area networks, because usually used to connect it, while switch is only connected using local area network, but it usually use a local traffic and it don't usually provide an internet towards switch. It only usually used to manage local traffic or send data within and across devices that are connected on that switch. It usually used to send them data at once, but via local transmission or local traffic, while it don't usually used to provide an internet. It don't usually provide internet. While the ISP, which is internet service provider, it is a gateway to the global network. Because for example, the internet service provider, like I tell you, it's usually the MTN, the example of internet service provider, the Airtel, all those services that usually provide you internet service are the ISP, which are your internet service provider, your gateway to the global network. Because the reason why all I'm telling you about to know about all those basic of the network component is that you have to understand all those components, because no matter how you have to have the foundation of the technical foundation of the core, how internet works between devices, routers, switches, ISPs, and then the server. And then the example of servers, which example are store, processes, and serves data, website files, emails to the client. For example of servers, like for example, let us use as a server as a room where it's usually used to store files, emails, and the rest. Because for example, emails usually used to use servers, because they are example of they usually used to store some data on it, in order when a client requests a data, it usually requests data from the server, then the server directly send data to the client. Because that's our example of server. You have to take note of all those networks component, which is device, router, switch, ICSP, and servers. You have to know all the differences. And then now how the internet works. The internet works like previously we have demonstrated how internet works previously in our page 0. If you could remember, I was already give you a text about how internet works. Because now, for example, your device, which is usually a request, it's usually connected to the router, and then after the router it connected to the ICSS, which is the internet service providers. It's ready to give the internet, where it give you the global network. Then the ICS will give you to the internet. After the internet, then it turn back to the device, which is your device who send a request to your router. Then the router forward it to your ISPS, which is internet service provider. Then the ISPS router is through the internet backbone, because it's they are going hand, which is the backbone of the internet and or the backbone of the networks of the network, global network of the networks, which is the internet. Then the destination, which is server, receive and process it. For example, when you access website or email address or your WhatsApp or other any kind of platform you access, it usually has its own server, and then the server send the response back along to the same path. It followed directly the same path in order for you to receive that pipe or that data or that packet that it will be requested from your device. That's how the internet response travel back to your devices. Then the data transmission. How the data it is transmission is that the data travels across network, which is packetizations, transmission, reassembling. This one I will not take much of the time much explaining how it works, because we already told it, but I would like to more go deep into this, because a large chunks of data are broken into a smaller or number of packets. Each packet has a reader with a destination and a sequence number, because while that's all about is a packetization, and then the transmissions, which is packet travels independently across the network. Different packets may take different routers to reach the same destination, and then reassembling. At destination, packets are collected and reassembled in the correct order using sequences number to reconstruct original data to the client or to the device that it has been requested. That kind of data, you have to take note of this how data transmission, because you have to know how data it is being transmitted from the servers and back to the device, where it follows the same response travel back to your devices. How this one, it is more example about how data it has been traveled from one place to another, which is that packetization. It's really the packet it is data broken into smaller numbers packet, and each packet has a reader with a destination info and a sequence or input destination information and a sequence number, while transmissions and then reassembling. Then why network matters in cyber security. This is one of the critical fundamentals of our network. Let me see whether I have some yeah, it's almost to the last. Alright, why networking matters in cyber security? Because networking matters in cyber security. It's a critical backbone of the cyber security. While attacks happens over network, this is a mainly reason for why needed of networks in cyber security, because attacks happens over network, which is nearly all cyber attacks travels through network. Because if you understand how network works while performing offensive or defensive security in the cyber security or about networking, it will give you a privilege to understand how you can make attack or defend the attack, because nearly all cyber attacks travel through a network. For example, phishing, emails, malware downloads, DDoS, which is distribution denial of service, fraud. You can't defend what you don't understand. One thing is that you have to understand how networks attacks happen, how attacks happen over network. You have to understand all this aspect. The reason why you have to more focus on how network works and how to defend a network, you have to go back and understand all those aspects of our networks, of how networks work, including the components of networks, then the capabilities of network device and others. While the traffic monitoring is the key, which is a security professional analyze network traffic through detect, anomalies, which is intrusion and data exploitation in a real time, because a traffic monitoring is a key, while defense start with flow. You have to understand why networking matters in cyber security with all those three key point aspects, which is attacks happens over network, and then the traffic monitoring is the key, while the defense start with flow. And like I've told you previously, you have to understand, after you understand how attackers happens over network, then You have to understand how data flow. Let you design your firewalls, which is, and the ideas, which is intrusion detection system, and then the intrusion prevention system, IDS/IPS, and then segmentation and access control that actually works. Because all those strategies are the strategy for defense. You are all familiar with the firewall, IDS and IPS, segmentation and access control. Because I think the new word should be in this slide is that I think is a malware. You have know of malware, and then you know phishing myself. I actually know you know phishing emails, and then the malware downloads, and then the DDoS. The DDoS flows with distribution denial of service. The example of distribution denial of service, or the short definition of distribution denial of service, is by sending a request to a server too much. Sending a request to a server at a specific time, as a second you are sending thousands of requests as a second. That's an that's a short definition about how distributed denial of service, which is DDoS, in order to disturb that server. You are sending requests over and over before the server give you send back the feedback about your request. You are just sending a request at a time. That's an example of distributed denial of service, which is DDoS attack plot. Like, you cannot depend what you don't understand. Like I've told you, you have to understand how attacks happens over network. Then the traffic monitor is the key. While like I've told you, solve some lab about defensive, they try hack me about what we call SME, which is security event management, which is a security professional analyze network traffic to detect anomalous intrusion and data exploitation in real time. And then what happens when you open google.com? This is a real world scenario. For example, like this one, it is more of advanced. Like previously, if you could remember, I'll give you example about how what happens when you open google.com, because previously I've make example for you in a demonstration. You type you type cyberkim.com.ng. For example, if you follow this step, it said one, you type google.com, your browser send a DNS, which is domain name service query, to resolve the domain to an IP address. Then the DNS responds google.com with the actual IP address of the Google, which is 142.15. Then your web browser knows where to send traffic. Then your device send an HTTP request, which is hyper transfer protocol request, secured request to the Google's IP. Then the packet travels device, then from your device to router, then the router to the ICSS, which is internet service provider, then the internet. Then the Google servers receive the request, process it, and build an HTTP response with the web page data, which is the transmission. Like I've told you previously, you have to know about all the transmission, how the data transmission, with the packetization, transmission, and then the packetization, transmission, and then the assembling. You have to take note of this. Then the response travels back in the packet, while the browser assembles them and renders Google's homepage. This is how it works. Then which is the scenario, all these sessions summary of week 1 of the effort, because this one is all about introduction to networking while networks connected to the device. Then it's all about networks connected to the device and network link device, so they can communicate and share data from your home Wi-Fi to the global internet. Then the internet is a global network of networks, while the internet is a massive one, which is wider area network, billions of devices connected through ICS or cables and wireless links worldwide. And then the data flow through structured file, which the data travels as a packet, device, router, ICS or internet servers, then back. Then understanding this flow is a foundational to the cyber security. Well, one thing is that you need to understand all those aspects, is that you have to understand how internet is work, because it's the introduction and the foundational to the cyber security, to understand how internet works. So automatically, if you understand how internet works, you'll previously understand what it's all about. Alright, and then I think this is less of our slides. I will if you have question related to this slide is already uploaded in your what do you call this thing, in your classroom. You can go through about it. Then I think if you have question, you should ask me. Wish you all the best.